Hey everyone, and welcome back. So, we're here for our weekly news show, talking about Switch news, talking about gaming news. This week is going to be fairly centered around the Switch, however. There's a few topics if you guys want to talk about it, maybe after the main topics and after the new games that we can talk about other systems, but I think we have a lot of Switch stuff to talk about. Because as usual, I like our Monday show last week was always like it's always like a day ahead because the news about the Switch 2 being backwards compatible dropped obviously the day after the show happened. So I was almost wanting to make a video about it. But honestly, everyone just jumped on the subject like so hard on YouTube that by the time I would have made it, it would have been like a day late. And I thought the best place to talk about it would be tonight on our weekly show. Um, Now, there is one thing I'm trying to find the original Miyamoto tweet that I cannot find online, but we are going to be talking about that a little bit later. I do need like 30 seconds to try and find that on X. Um, Let me just see. This one most likely links to it. But yeah, so sorry guys, I thought I had everything open, and then I just realized that god dang it, I did not have the one thing that we needed for that story. Well, not that we needed, but I definitely wanted to look at. And basically I can't find it now because it's like that, you know. The freaking tweet the same way when he announced that when he's going to announce the Switch 2, same way he did it this time, and I'm trying to find it. This is Furukawa, blah 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 blah. Okay, I'll find it a little bit later. Either way, we're not starting with that story, so I'll have time to find it. If any of you, by the way, does have the tweet like linked or whatnot, let me know, and I will definitely I would take a link here. I'm gonna try one last thing. Then, like I said, worst comes to worst, we will talk about the story without the original tweet. Either way, it's like a 2-line tweet. Oh. Got it. Yeah, I got it. Never mind. We're good. Okay. So, first of all, I've got to say, I spent even more money on freaking Switch collections because I bought the special edition of the Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider 3-game bundle special edition. So I'm like thinking of doing like a haul unboxing where rather than doing each one of the unboxings separately, I'm thinking of doing like a maybe like 20-minute video where I unbox like 5 or 6 special editions at the same time, because I have like 5 or 6 unopened special editions that I've bought over the last couple of months. And basically, I think we're at the point where I shouldn't be doing it one by one anymore. Rick got rid of Xbox. Yes, I got rid of Xbox temporarily. I am thinking of picking up a Series S for Game Pass only. But the fridge is still there. The fridge is good. The fridge is all good. Honestly, I have nothing against Xbox. I just really couldn't validate having a PS5, a Switch, and an Xbox that I basically at one point did not turn on for 2 months straight. You guys remind me I have nothing in the Xbox fridge, so I need to open up the door to so that it doesn't break or doesn't make any condensation. Yeah, it's the mini fridge. It's the Xbox edition mini fridge. But so yeah, personally, I have nothing against Xbox. I was actually really excited because it was the first time I was buying an Xbox in the current generation. I'd always bought them in the past, like at the next generation step. But I ended up selling it when I bought my PS5 because I hadn't turned it on in 2 months at that time. And even though I am seriously, hugely Switch focused, that never happens with my PS5. I turn it on at least once or twice a week and play a few hours of a PS5, like a PS5 or PS4 game. Like right now, I'm on Call of Duty. I'm prestiging, so I'm at Prestige 1, making my way back up. So if you guys play Call of Duty, you'll know what I mean. But that's not important. That's not what we're here to talk about tonight. Tonight, we're here to talk about Switch stuff. So now I'm going to stop rambling, and we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about on today's show. So we're going to be talking about Switch backwards compatibility because, like I said, the news dropped last week. I'm going to give you my take on it, and I do think some things that maybe haven't been discussed as much by other channels, other people, that implicate what it really means to have a backwards compatible Switch, and I think it is awesome news all around. We're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct, but I'm going to half be like annoyed because it is not the Nintendo Direct we want. It is super fun. The news, the Direct itself was super fun, but let's be honest, guys, I'm fed up with all the Nintendo announcements that aren't the Nintendo announcement we want, but we're still going to talk about it. I'm going to come back on last week's story because I now can officially say that IGN was full of shit with their 5 out of 10 for Mario and Luigi. We played 7 hours of the game on stream. I played a few more hours here over the weekend. I definitely didn't play as much as I wanted to, and that's part of the reason yesterday's podcast got delayed. I'll go into that a little bit before we get into other stuff as well. And we're going to actually go do a quick return on Echoes of Wisdom, because there was a recent interview with the developers of Echoes of Wisdom talking about probably what was one of the most complained about, would probably be the way to put it, elements of the game, which was the menuing in the game, which even I at times found very tiresome. But apparently there's a method to the madness. There was an interview, they explained it. I want to go over it because it's an interesting take that I personally, even reviewing the game, hadn't seen. Um, um, and before we jump into all of that, I'll basically explain to you why yesterday's podcast, well, why we were delayed and why we're here tonight. By the way, I'm going to say hi to everyone in the chat too, because I jumped ahead of myself and got into the stories, and I was in my head. Welcome Squirrel, Nanaki, Frog, which is Corey, Annie M, welcome back, Champ Dancer, Jose Traviesa, welcome. Let me see. We've got Frenchy Mom in the house as well. Am I missing anyone? Matu B2, thank you so much. Once Kilos, welcome, welcome. If I did miss anyone, I'm sorry, but undoubtedly I will be talking about you guys in the future. Okay. Basically, I don't know if you guys have ever had one of those days, and I'm sure you have, where, I'll be honest, yesterday I didn't get any major bad news, but I got a consecutive stream of small, annoying bad news all day. Like all day. And it hit like an accumulation point in the evening where, no joke, like yesterday, I didn't want to talk to anyone. And I know that maybe doing the stream could have actually helped me sort of get out of my head and like talk about other stuff. But at the same time, I knew I wasn't in a good mood. And I was like, the show wouldn't have been as good, basically. The show wouldn't have been as good as waiting till today, because like I would have been forcing myself to do it. I was trying to look at the games coming out this week, and I just had trouble like focusing on the trailers because I was so in my head about all the little news that I got throughout the day. And like I said, nothing major. And I'd say even like 70% of yesterday is already dealt with today. You know what I mean? But it was just a constant flow of crap that wasn't working. And on top of it, there was like an accumulation of right now being extremely disappointed that I'm behind on a lot of content. I've been talking about it for like 2 or 3 weeks, but it's like I can't get into a place where I can work comfortably on content outside of eShop deals. Like I always take the time when eShop deals it's time. Like I take the time, and I'm not doing it for the other content. And it's starting. The accumulation is starting to annoy me. You understand? Like, because I'm a person, I hate being behind. I hate having like 20 different ideas and not being able to get any of them done. But so that's basically why the stream yesterday didn't happen. So it was nothing major. No one's sick. No one's hurt. Um, just accumulation of crappy stuff all day. And look, I'll get it off my chest right now. YouTube actually didn't help yesterday, and not you guys, not comments itself. YouTube's stupid algorithm and system itself, I think, was like a cherry on top that I was like, F you guys. Like, seriously, F you guys, because, like, it's so dumb. And I'll explain to you guys what it is. Like, basically, since about a week now, I haven't been able. You know how normally when you guys win a $10 eShop gift card during the eShop deals, I normally ask you guys to reach out in my pinned comment. And then basically in the pinned comment, I'll respond generally with saying, please email me at my email address and whatnot. Well, for the past week and a half, when I link my email address, YouTube blocks the comments. However, it is not against terms of service. By the way, to link my email address. I checked, I contested with YouTube, and this is the stupid thing, okay? It happened on a video last week. I responded twice to the dude, and my comment was disappearing. I log in one day to my YouTube app, and I get a warning on my YouTube app saying, your comments have been blocked from a recent video. If you keep posting these types of comments, you will be frozen out of being able to make comments. So I'm like, dude, I don't comment on anything other than like my own videos. And even when I comment on someone else's videos, it's like always positive stuff. Like I'm the kind of person that if I'm going to think something negative about a video, I'm just not going to comment, because it's probably the best way to be negative about a video is to not interact with it, because it actually hurts the person more on YouTube than to comment negatively, because it's causing interaction with the video. Where did I buy it? I think this one I bought online or GameStop. It's either online on Amazon or GameStop, one or the other for this one. I'm 100% sure. It's one or the other. I'm pretty sure it's GameStop. But basically, so yeah, but getting back to the, so, you know, I never interact negatively. So I'm like trying to find out which comments have been blocked. And that's how I actually figured out that it's my comments where I was telling where I was telling the winner of the gift card to respond back to me to my email address. So I took the time that day. It took an hour to get in touch with YouTube, ask them to review the comments. But this wasn't easy, because at first they said, oh, no, if the algorithm's blocking it, it's because it blocks terms of service. And I'm like showing them word for word what the comment is, because I always write the exact same comment to the winners. And I'm like, how is this breaking terms of service? And the guy's like, oh, I can't tell you, it just is. And I'm like, I show him the terms of service, and I'm like, okay, show me which one of these this is breaking. And none of them. So about after a half an hour of going in circles like this, he passes me to his supervisor, the supervisor officially opens up an appeal, and I win the appeal. I get an email the next day saying, hey, you're right, nothing is breaking terms of service. We're sorry, your comments have been restored. So I'm like, nice, this is solved. We're done. Well, guess what? When I put my comment yesterday to the winner to say that he won, they blocked it again. So what that means is that theoretically my comments are okay, but because the algorithm thinks I'm a bot because I always write the same type of comment, because that's basically it. The only explanation can be that the algorithm thinks because I always write the same type of comment that I must be a bot, that I would have to go through 45-minute process every time I write the comment to contest it and wait a day for it to be approved, which is stupid as hell. It's stupid as hell. So basically, if you read the comment, I said, and I'm saying this because if any of you win, I basically now have to tell you, please email me at the email on the info page of my profile. Because like on the channel page, there's an email for contacting me. It's there on the info page. It's just that I can't link the email. I have to just tell you, hey, go to my info page and email me at the email that's there, which is ridiculous. But, and that was like the cherry on top where I was like, F you guys, because I went through all this last week. And like, it wasn't only that, but I think that was the last one. Like I said, the cherry on top of the sundae that was like, I'm done today. I'm done. You know what I mean? When you're just like, yeah, I'm done. Peace out. I put a headset on. I went to bed and I basically just watched a movie. And I was like, I'm done. It's over today. No one talked to me anymore. Like, and I wasn't angry, but even my wife, my kids, I was like, don't talk to me. I'm not going to be a nice person today. Like, you know, I wouldn't have been mean, like mean, but I'm like, you're not going to get like friendly, helpful advice today. And I tried to actually change up the wording a bit so that like it wouldn't be the exact same comment. It didn't help. I don't think a date would help. It's that basically what the algorithm I think does is it's detected that over the last 4 years, every 2 videos I post the same comment on it. So it's like, and I linked the same email address, so it thinks I'm a bot, like linking email addresses. But what I don't understand is how can they not include in their algorithm that if you're posting a link on your own channel twice every week, how can that be spamming? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but the problem with that is that I think a lot of people would copy paste it, send an email, and it did not work. I know if a person reads it properly, they will correct it, but I just want to explain that you cannot assume that everyone will be and I'd rather the person be like, hey, I don't know where to find your email, than, hey, you gave me a fake email. Do you understand what I mean? Like the result of a person saying, hey, I tried to send it to the email you gave me and it's not working, it's a fake email, to me gives more negativity than the person just telling you, can you please go get the email, and you having trouble to find it. It just sucks because it makes it a worst experience for the people winning the gift cards. Okay, which by the way, if you guys are watching tonight, you're gonna get it like tomorrow. I ordered them yesterday. They're just blocked on my credit card as usual because they're outside of my country. Like I'm buying gift cards outside of Canada, so it always takes like 24 to 48 hours. And for the person who won last week, because of the delay of all that comment problems, I just decided that I wanted to buy both of them at once so that I didn't have to go through the whole garbage twice. Okay. I don't think I'll be ready next year for full-time content creation, but it actually is. There's a soft plan there. Okay, if views and things pick up the way I think it will for Switch 2, we might be looking at the transition year where I might finally do a push to doing full-time content. Now, look, I don't want to get ahead of myself because I don't want to promise things, but if we do get there, like a lot of things will change-ish. Number one, I'll be honest, we most likely will make a streaming channel at that point, and I'll stream daily, like if that happens. And the reason why I would make a streaming channel that is separate from my YouTube channel, by the way, just so you guys understand, is that the one negativity from streaming on the main channel is that it feeds people the streams that maybe don't want to see the streams, and it hurts the views on normal videos sometimes. Okay, so but if you're wondering why most YouTube channels have like a streaming channel and a normal channel and they don't stream on their normal channel, that's why. It's because basically you want to make sure that every video hits with as much of your public as possible, and often the streaming public is not always exactly the same as the video viewing public. There is overlap, but it is not exactly a one for one between the two publics. So the fact that after each stream, like it sends out notifications to my subscribers that a new video is available, which is like the VOD of the stream, and that not that many people watch it, actually hurts slightly my discoverability on YouTube. At this point, though, with 2 streams a week, it's not worth it for me to make a streaming channel because I would have to get enough subscribers over there. I'd have to reapply for like monetization and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, you guys would have to like be subscribed to both channels. And I know that's not a big thing for some of you, but hitting the viewers for the monetization might be. Like, it might take like a month or two. However, if I'm streaming daily, we're going to hit it in like a week. You understand what I mean? So, like, right now, it would take too long to hit it. But if we would start streaming, like, every day, then it's worth it because I can hit what I need to hit in, like, a week. But, yeah, so somewhat plans. Okay, now we have all of that stuff out of the way, and we've had a time to chat. Let's get started slowly with our stories for this week. Because if we don't start going into it, we will we'll probably never get there. So let's switch over quickly to our first story coming to us from Nintendo Life. By the way, I will be adding the links into the video as soon as we're done. The links are already there for the trailers that we're going to watching for the new Switch games for this week, but I'm going to be putting these story links in there. I was just a little bit like, you know, I was like you guys saw, I wasn't prepared with the X comment and stuff. I was a little bit right up against it, so I didn't have time to put the links in. I had some of them, but not all of them, and I'd rather just wait and put them all at once than put half of them and then half of them later. And this story, actually, I decided to add it in like 5 minutes before we started because I found it super, super interesting. I read it. So basically, if you guys played Echoes of Wisdom, probably one common sentiment that a lot of people had was that the menuing system for changing between the various echoes was not the best system on Earth. Okay, it is basically a huge scrolling menu that, yes, you can order in 4 different ways by like the echoes you used last, the echoes you use most often, the echoes you received last, and there's a third one which is, I think, a random order or just like alphabetical or something like that. It's the 4th order I never used, so I can't remember what it is, but I know there's 4 different options. The first 3 I know because I would actually flip between them pretty commonly. But basically, that was not the best system for a lot of people. And it is probably, I think, the biggest point of contention that pretty much every reviewer brought up was the menuing system, which, by the way, resembles a lot what we had in Tears of Kingdom for selecting menu items. It actually feels almost like a one-to-one from Tears of the Kingdom. And it was also probably one of the most problematic things about Tears of the Kingdom for a lot of people as well. So it's like a common thing. Hey, Black Spiders, how you doing, man? But yes, so it's really funny because basically this is going through an interview that happened between the developers and BBC to talk about some of the criticisms that happened behind Echoes of Wisdom. Now, like I said, the actual article is going to be linked there, but I'm gonna sort of talk about the highlights. So one of the highlighted comments that we have here is that one of the essence of this game is being able to figure out different ways of using each echo. And so in that sense, what we wanted is for players to fall upon these echoes that they may not have noticed or may not have been using while they were sorting through all the echoes that they have. And I've actually never thought about it that way. But now thinking about it and thinking back about how I played through the game, they are actually right. So apparently the choice to do the menu this way, what they're saying here is that by forcing you to sort of continuously flip through all your echoes, they wanted you to realize for sometimes like an epiphany to hit you, hey, I never thought of using this echo in this situation. Is it going to work? And all of a sudden, you end up using an echo that you weren't going to use because you had to scroll through it on the menu. And I've got to say that if I think back about my experience playing the game, that did happen to me. On multiple occasions, I would be in front of a problem and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to use this echo to solve it. But on my way to looking for that echo, I would see a different echo and I'd be like, hey, wait a second, maybe I can use this one instead. And then I would try it out. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. But I do agree here that I had never seen it that way, and it actually makes somewhat sense. Now, does that forgive the system? Does it make it the perfect system? It still does not. But I see what the developer was talking about here. But they go on to saying that they do agree that there were maybe better ways of going about the menu and that they sort of haven't come across a better system yet that gives the same discoverability to all the echoes and that gives the same freedom and whatnot. And what I actually find really, really funny is that they end the interview on saying that they were very, very nervous about revealing that Zelda was going to be the hero of the game. And I've got to say, I'm going to tip my hat to like the developers, to Nintendo here, because, and we've talked about it for a few of other games, there has been a lot of, and I'm using the word in parenthesis, woke pushback against games lately. And part of me was scared that Echoes of Wisdom was going to get mistaken for a woke push in gaming. And look, I don't have the background of why Nintendo wanted to make Zelda the hero, blah, 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 blah. We were not in their heads. But I've got to say, they were very courageous in the current climate, I think, to nonetheless go with Zelda as the main hero. And I think for the Zelda series, it worked out perfectly in my opinion. And I've said it many times before. I have absolutely no issues with diversity, with powerful women heroes in gaming and all that. And I think Echoes of Wisdom is one of those examples that shows you the right way to do those things. Okay? Where it doesn't feel shoehorned in, it fits with the game, and we're talking about a game series that has been around for 40 years almost, that has always had this character included as a sort of secondary character. She has had more primary roles in some of the other games. I do know that, and we're whatnot. But she's never been the main protagonist. Without Link for like 95% of the journey. And basically, the storyline was set up in a way where everything makes sense. It feels good, and the character itself was still very honest to the Zelda mechanics. Like, it still very much felt like a Legend of Zelda game. Where I always had, and in contrast to this, where it doesn't work and why I think there's a pushback against it, is when these concepts feel shoehorned into a game. And I've said it before, and I'm glad, and I'm saying that like Echoes is not an example of this, because basically it was done in an organic, natural way that made sense, in a series that made sense, and it was done with respect to the property. And the problem with a lot of gaming, like wokeness, and it's because I hate the word wokeness. Okay, woke and wokeness, I like hate the term because I find it's like one of those like trigger words for a lot of people that doesn't properly explain what we're trying to talk about. Um, but basically, what really feels bad is when these things are shoehorned into a game and they feel inauthentic, or they feel like you're changing the whole IP to fit a narrative that doesn't fit with the IP. Okay, and look, I'm not gonna get into Dragon Age Veilguard because I played like an hour of it at a friend's place. Like, I wanted to try it. I heard so much about it that I actually sent out a message, and I'm like, "Does anyone have Veilguard? Because I want to play it for like an hour, and I don't want to spend $70 on it." And I got someone that said, "Yeah, yeah, come over and we can play an hour of it." And it's like I'm not going to get into like, so that doesn't give me a perspective on the game enough to talk about that game, and whatnot. But where it feels bad is just like, I'm trying to think of a game that did this. Oh my god, not Payday, Saints Row, the latest Saints Row game, like the last Saints Row game. Like, it felt so shoehorned in, and it felt so inauthentic, the interactions between the characters. And like, I'm taking a game that we've never talked about on the channel that I play through because I love the Saints Row games. I actually discovered them on the Switch, like the third and fourth one. I discovered them through doing eShop deals on the Switch, fell in love with the series, was super excited for a new game to be coming out. And the game was garbage because it felt so inauthentic. And I think that's what people are picking up on in gaming and those things, is the inauthenticity of it, or just a lack of the writers or the developers being able to introduce these ideas with them feeling unnatural. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll just give you an example, like in like a real life interaction, like in the workplace, in my friendships, I have a lot of people that have diverse gender backgrounds, and like, you know like a gay man, a gay woman, whatnot. But one thing that I have never had happen to me in my life is someone say, like, let's say you meet someone new, okay? You're at work and someone walks up to you that you've never talked to before that wants to introduce themselves. I've never had someone come up to me and say, and I'm taking a random name, okay? "Hey, my name's Sophie. I'm a gay woman." Like, most times when you find out that someone that you work with or a friend or something is gay or straight or whatnot, it'll be through normal conversation. They'll walk up to you, they'll say like, "Hey, I'm Sophie. Hey, I'm Rick." Your day will continue on. You will go out for lunch, grab a bite together to keep your conversation going. And while you're grabbing a bite together, you'll be like, "Hey, do you have family? Do you have friends?" "Oh yeah, I have a girlfriend called this," and you're talking to Sophie. "I have a girlfriend, her name is Annie or Jessica or whatever," and you're like, "Oh," and you catch on that the person is gay. You know what I mean? That's a normal interaction. But in games, what they seem to feel like they need to do is every person needs to greet you based on their like orientation and stuff, which never happens in real life. And that's the problem. That's where the things feel shoehorned in. And that's where I'm saying that the developers and the writers don't have the life experience to deliver this content without it feeling like, "Oh, okay, you like, because like basically the introduction to the characters are often like, "Hey, my name is this and I like dudes," and you're like, who the heck does that in real life? So it doesn't feel real. When you guys and gals talk about Zelda, you sound like Muppet Baby's mom. Wah 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 wah. LOL. Sorry, not a fan. You can be not a fan of Zelda. That's perfectly fine, my man, Wild One. But and it's all good. But yeah, no, I love. You're talking to a guy who like probably among my top three IPs in the world, Zelda's up there. So definitely, we're gonna always talk about that Zelda stuff a little bit in depth. But anyway, we're moving on. I just found it really funny that they were worried that Zelda was gonna get a bad reception. And from what we can see, the game is apparently selling pretty decent. So I'm glad that that's happening. And, I just wanted to sort of share that and go back on that point because I think that's something that we didn't have to worry about with Echoes of Wisdom. Rick Plasia has two awesome deals. We can go check that out later if you want, Champ Dancer. No problem. Remind me towards the end of the stream. We can go check out what those deals are on Play Asia. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's move to our next little bit of business. Now, our next little bit of business, I'm going to get this out of the way really quick because everyone's been going crazy about Wind Waker HD. Since we're talking about Zelda, let's get the Zelda stuff out of the way, okay? And we're going to do this super quick because honestly, I just don't think that this story has a lot of foundation, and a lot of people are going crazy over what we have seen happen like multiple times before and it not have any foundation. So right now, why would I be more excited? Exactly. That's why I'm just going through it quick, squirrel, because I think a lot of people would expect me to talk about it because I'm a huge Zelda fan. Everyone's been talking about it. But basically, what happened is on some random retailer's website, a spotting for Wind Waker HD on the Switch was there. But as multiple people have explained before, a lot of websites have placeholders for games that were rumored or that could happen or that the website just believes could have a very high likelihood of happening, simply to have a sort of back end already built where if it gets announced, all they have to do is plug in the JPEG of the actual box art, put the price up with the release date, and their website is updated within 30 minutes. Do you understand? So the problem right now is that a lot of these websites on the back end, when they update these type of things, sometimes there's mistakes where some of it goes live by mistake. So meaning that if you go on the website and you write Wind Waker HD, which normally should not pop up if it's one of those sort of prepared pages that isn't viewable to the public, well, all of a sudden it becomes viewable because for whatever reason, that website decided to prepare the entry. Now, is it because the website got information that the game is actually releasing? Look, it could happen. It could eventually happen, but the chances are it didn't. Number two, it's like I think it was like from a Russian site or something like that. Do they give the Wind Waker HD? Do they give the site here? Anyway, I found the site when it came out, and I was like, yeah, I'm not thinking that this is an actual thing right now. So basically, it's sort of like a PSA almost for all of you out there. Like, I would love to get Wind Waker HD on the Switch. And now when we're going to talk about backwards compatibility, whether it's Switch 1 or 2, I think it could be very much a double console title. It could probably work on both. Or, I do think we're going to, by the way, and that's what we're getting into backwards compatibility. I think we're going to have a lot of like dual titles for like maybe the first like 6 months to a year. I don't think it's going to turn out like PlayStation 5 where like 3 years later we still are getting titles for the first Switch, but I do think we're going to have like a period of time where we're going to have dual titles. And like Wind Waker HD would be perfect because you could still have it running like, for example, at targeting 60 frames per second on Switch 2 and 30 frames per second on Switch 1, and it'd be very playable on both. But And it could be, yes, it could be also a nice release for early 2025. So could I see this happening? I could. I just don't think that this particular this particular information that was leaked is an actual leak. I think it's just the back end of a website getting updated, and I would put very little credibility into this news, basically. Okay? So that is the Wind Waker HD. Do I want to see the game? Yes. Do I think this is a leak of the actual game coming out? No. Could it still happen? Of course. It would make sense. It would have made sense for the last 2 years for eventually this game to come out. But overall, I still think that this is nothing to get super excited about for the moment. Okay, so that we have out of the way. So I do want to come back on IGN and Brothership, because last week I was very mad, and we're not going to spend like 45 minutes like I did last week. If you want to see me rant for the full review of Brothership from IGN, you can go watch last week's stream. I spent like 45 minutes telling all the reasons why I think this review won't make sense. But at that point, I hadn't played Brothership yet, so I had to nonetheless, even though I was like 99% sure that it wasn't going to be a 5 out of 10 game, I did want to leave myself a little bit of wiggle room just in case, in the sense that, like, okay, everything about the review when I read it doesn't feel like it adds up to a 5, and these are the reasons why, and we went through it last week, and basically, but I wanted to wait till I played it. Now, last week we played 7 hours of the game on stream. I played like a good 3-4 hours more over the weekend, which I wanted to play like 10 hours more during the weekend, but that just didn't end up happening. There is no way on earth that this game is a 5 out of 10 based on IGN scale. Now, I do want to be careful because each reviewer can have a different scale. But if we're looking at the IGN scale of gaming, there is no way that this game is a 5 on their scale. I can see a world where someone builds a scale and this game could fall into a 5 out of 10 on the scale. But if the 5 out of 10 is the average decent game, do you understand? Like, because right now there's a very, like, even my review scale, there's a heavy emphasis on the 6 to 10 with a low emphasis on the 1 to 5. Okay, what that means is that from 1 to 5 in my book, it's the game is starting to be broken or really, really bad. However, maybe I use 6 because to me 6 is still an okay game. 6 is still a decent game in my book, where IGN below a 7, I would say, is generally games that they consider not decent. Okay, and my definition of a 5. Anyway, I'm just saying that if someone would have a scale where really 5 meant a good game but nothing special, I could see someone putting the game there. But that's not the way IGN scale works. 5 means a game that is starting to have serious problems. Okay? No problem, Rodrigo. Have a great night. Thank you for stopping by, saying hi. Hey, Needless Dragon, how you doing? By the way, yeah, so I'm just coming back to confirm that this game is nowhere near a 5. In my book, it's somewhere around an 8. Okay? Yeah, and 5 to me is like bland, but everything is okay about the game. Like in my book, 5 is bland, but everything is okay about the game. Would I go out of my way to play it? Definitely not. But so 5 in my book is where it starts to get not recommended. At 6, I can still recommend the game for someone who is really into the genre. 7 is a game that is worth playing. Like in my book, if you look at the way my scale is built, 5 is like there's no major problems with the game, but it just didn't catch my attention in any area. 6, the game is good if you really like that genre. You can have some fun with it. 7 is a game worth playing. 8 is a game that is definitely worth playing. 9 is like a stellar game among some of the, like a must play. And 10 is a genre defining game. A game that, if I give a game a 10, and look, I'm going to tell you right now, Echoes of Wisdom to me is a 10. Okay. And you'll understand, because 10 does not mean perfect. 10 means genre defining. What it means is that there's an after and a before the release of that game. And after the release of that game, other games in the same genre will be compared to it on a regular basis. Okay? And it brings something new to the genre that we have never seen before. And on top of it, I'm working on a playthrough, dude, of Elden Ring. I had to restart from 0, okay? And I'm trying to not use any like grinding tactics where I power level this time. So I'm actually trying to beat the game like, I don't want to say under leveled, but like I don't want to start grinding for hours like I did the first time to beat Roderick without even having to block, sort of, or dodge. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying is that's it. So it's genre defining. There's a before after that game, and after that game, every other game in the genre that is seeking perfection will be compared to that game. Okay, another game like that for me would be Hollow Knight, which would be between a 9 and a 10, because there was a before Hollow Knight and there was an after Hollow Knight. And after Hollow Knight, every challenging Metroidvania is compared to that game. And it's like, oh, you get what I mean? That to me, that is a 10 out of 10. So it doesn't mean perfection. It means that it is a genre defining game. So those, like that's how my scale works. Their scale works somewhat similar. However, I would say it's even harder on the 6s. Like a 6 for them is a game not worth playing. For me, it's a game that's worth playing if you like the genre. So for me, 6 isn't necessarily an awful score. For them, already at 6 for a AAA game is like a disaster. Okay, so giving it a 5 is saying like the game is an extreme disaster. And by the way, a lot of other reviewers would agree with me. There's maybe 1 or 2 reviewers that gave it somewhere around this score, but like 99% of the reviewers out there gave the game somewhere around an 8, between a 10 and an 8. Some gave it a 7, which that I can respect. You didn't like the game, you didn't respond to it. That can be a very fair score. Like I have no problem with a 7 based on like an IGN type rating scale. Okay, so I just wanted to come back on this because I can now definitely say that it is not a 5 out of 10 based on the IGN scale. Okay, we are getting into the last 2 things, which are 2 bigger stories for this week. Super Nintendo World. Now, I'm going to play this in the background muted because, to be honest, it's a 12-minute video. It's not that we can't watch a 12-minute video. It's that it's a subtitled 12-minute video of Miyamoto going through the new Donkey Kong Land Park. And I'm actually going to go ahead a bit because since we're looking at the visuals, it's more like, okay, let's see what the park looks like. But basically, yeah, this is the right one, Donkey Kong Country. I wanted to make sure I was playing the right trailer, not the old Super Mario World, the first one. But basically, we got a Nintendo Direct, okay? They called it a Nintendo Direct. but it's a Super Mario World Nintendo Direct to announce that basically Donkey Kong Land is going to be opening on December 10th, 11th, somewhere around there in Japan. So if you visit Universal Studios Japan and you want to go see Super Mario World, after that date, you'll be able to also visit the second area of the park, which is what we're seeing right now on screen, Donkey Kong, the Donkey Kong section of the park, which honestly feels like an awesome expansion. I do feel like the next natural one will be a Zelda expansion. Like if they do a third section to the park, I'm sort of surprised that they didn't do Zelda before they did Donkey Kong. But I guess when we're talking about theme parks and rides, it's maybe more fitting the Donkey Kong theme because of how bright it is. This looks like a video of Rick's room. F you, man. I freaking hate you tonight, Wild One. I'm joking around, but yeah. Elden Ring is, the problem is I don't have enough time to dedicate to that game. Like I would have had it when it first came out. Now it's like getting rougher and rougher. But basically we're going to so Donkey Kong Country theme park. Look, I'm not gonna lie, everything looks awesome about the park. The one thing that I'm sort of like, it's like right now everyone wants to hear about the Switch 2. And I said it last week when they hit with the Nintendo Music app. It's that every time I see these trailers, they end up being something really fun. They end up being something exciting for Nintendo fans. But right now, it's really hard to get overly excited about it because all I want to do is freaking hear about the Switch 2. So, but Nintendo at this point, I said it last week, and now it feels even more true. It almost feels like they're trolling the internet. No joke. It feels like they're trolling everyone on the internet, where each time we see the words, a Nintendo announcement, and we go to it and we're like, not the Switch 2. And then we're like, you have to wake up and you're, okay, well, what was it? Oh, it's a Donkey Kong Country. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. Like, I don't know if you guys get this feeling, but that's the feeling I'm getting each time. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I open up my phone and, you know, being a YouTuber, the first thing I do is I hit YouTube to see what happened while I was asleep. And every time I see, like, Nintendo... And dude, when I saw Nintendo Direct, like there was a split second before the rest of the words hit me where I was like, yes. I was pissed that I was working, but at the same time I was like, finally. But overall, I get that feeling too. I'll be honest with you, Corey. If I wasn't a content creator, I'd be much more on board with what you just said, where we'll get it when we get it. I agree with you. It's just that, like, right now as a content creator, it's so annoying creating content that is not around the Switch 2 because all of it doesn't hit right now if it's not talking about the Switch 2 on YouTube for Switch 2 because so many people are searching for Switch 2 news. So that's why, as a content creator, I sort of want the system out there so we can actually start talking about something else. Or we can start talking about it, but in a real way. Because although I don't mind doing rumor stuff in the news show and whatnot, it's not my favorite type of content. I like talking about real things that we know are happening. I like guessing sometimes, like, what's going to happen to a game that's coming out or something like that. But right now being in like this sort of limbo where everyone is focused on this one sole thing is getting annoying as a content creator, because sometimes you have a really cool idea you want to put out there, but you know that right now it's going to get a quarter of the views it would normally get because you're not talking about the god dang Nintendo Switch 2. You know what I mean? It's annoying. It happens, but it's part of the game. It's part of the game. That's what it is. Everyone wants to hear about the Switch 2. So we're going to hear eventually about the Switch 2. And so that was pretty much the news for the park. Honestly, it looks super cool. And once it comes to Florida, which by the way should be next year, um, I'm gonna seriously think about doing a trip down to Florida to check out the theme park. It's going to be an expensive trip with the kids, but I think it'll be finally worth it to go down there. We've been wanting to do it for quite a few years. My daughter dreams about seeing Disneyland. Um, I know it's lost a lot of its luster apparently or whatnot, but still, right now it's in Japan, but next year it's opening. They're opening one up in Florida. Champ Dancer. Right now, this is Japan opening up for this year. It's supposed to open up in 2025 in Florida. So, and they sort of tell you they talk about it at the end of the video. They talk about it at the end of the video here. Here, hold on, like right here. And next year at Universal Studios Orlando in Florida. That's because I have closed captioning on. That's what's messing things up. Okay. You'll be able to experience these two areas. So Orlando, it's going to be hitting next year. But yeah, so super cool announcement, just not the announcement we want. And Nintendo, stop freaking trolling everyone. Seriously, I just can't do it no more. Like, if I get another Nintendo announcement, like big one that isn't the Switch 2, I'm going to flip out. Okay. Now we're going to get to the big news for this week. And it's big news, but I have very little visual support for it, which is why I wanted to tweet. Okay. But last week, Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, November 5th, right? Exactly. November 5th. And it's weird because I had my stream on top of it, my birthday stream, and I'm like, should I dedicate a part of it to talking to backwards compatibility? And we sort of talked about it offhand, but it didn't feel like the proper place to do it because I already had planned what I wanted to do. Okay. Used to work at Disneyland, California. That's really cool. I haven't been in like 26 years. So I don't, unless you worked there 26 years ago, I don't think we crossed paths, but maybe you did. I don't know. But yeah. Okay. So basically on November 5th, we got a tweet, and I love how they do this, Nintendo. This is Furukawa. At today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. I'm only 25. I know, it's crazy, eh? And I went there 26 years ago. I used my DeLorean to get there. You know, that's how I did that, dude. But this is the most Nintendo way to announce something. Okay, the same way they announced that they were gonna talk about the Nintendo Switch, and this is where I'm gonna try and I'm gonna give myself a little bit of clout here, and I talked about it on my stream. I wanted to find the exact place I talked about it in a previous Warp Zone, but when we were talking about, and I'll find it, okay? I wish I would have had it for this week. That would have actually been probably the best support to have visually for talking about this. But basically, when we addressed Nintendo Switch rumors in one of the previous Warp Zones, this is exactly one of the possibilities I said was going to happen. I said that Nintendo was going to do one of two things. They were going to sacrifice their holiday season to get a longer launch period for the Switch by just announcing it. Or they were going to officially say that the Switch 2 is going to be compatible to the Switch to make sure that they get the best holidays possible on the current software. And to be honest, Actually, I don't. I hope they don't revamp the eShop because that way I'll be more relevant on the channel, Frenchy Bob. Um, it's sort of like that. I want it to be better, but I don't want it to be better because then I stay more relevant. If the eShop is still as bad as it is now, you guys still need me. You still need me. So I don't really want them to revamp it. If I'm talking from like a pure a pure you'd still watch my eShop deals. Awesome. Um, but I'm just joking around. Obviously, like if they revamp it, I know there'll still be as many games coming out, and you'll still have to sort of have someone to be able to tell you where to target your attention and whatnot. But basically, what I said is that they were going to announce that the Switch 2 is going to be retro compatible. I pure said because to be honest, and was I 100% sure? No, but I was like 99, 95% sure because like I said, of the moves Nintendo did over the last 6 months. Number one, like I said, Nintendo, even though we think Nintendo does stuff for the gamers, they do stuff for the investors. Look at the 2 times Furukawa talked about the Switch successor. Both of them were after the yearly earnings report and now the half-year report. Nintendo isn't announcing this for players. They're announcing this for the investors. Okay? And I know it sucks to hear, but I just want a moment of reality here that Nintendo is a company that wants to make money, and they're only going to respond and feel responsible to the investors. Okay? And who else are you going to watch die on stream? You guys are on a roll. You're trying to give me a bad day like yesterday, right? That's the point of all this. You guys are trying to make sure that I like lose it again tonight. No, I'm joking around, but I just want a moment of clarity here, where even though I love Nintendo games, they are primarily a company into making money. Okay, they make great products to make money. You know what I mean? So let's be, just a moment of like sincerity here for a second. We all love Nintendo here, but let's be honest, Nintendo itself doesn't love us. They love the money we give them. Okay. I know it sucks to hear it that way, but it'll help you clarify how they're making their decisions. Where sometimes you're like, but gamers need to know what the Switch 2. Yes, but if it's not the right marketing move, they're not going to do it. They're not going to they're not going to satisfy gamers to hurt their bottom line. But they are going to satisfy gamers if it's going to improve their bottom line. Ha 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 ha. I've been using that controller for months, by the way. I went back to my 8-bit dough just because, like I said, when you're playing pure Switch and you have the option of both controllers, I do still prefer my 8-bit dough Ultimate. Okay, and when you're playing a 2D game, I still prefer my Pro 2, which is over there on the table. But it's still among one of my top 3 controllers. Like if I didn't have all of these controllers and I had to buy just one controller for all my systems, that would be the one I would want. You understand? So that's basically what my conclusion to the review is. If you're a person who plays only on the Switch, there could maybe be better options out there, like the 8-bit dough Ultimate and whatnot. But if you're a person that plays multiple systems, I think it's one of the top options out there. But getting back to the Switch or backwards compatibility. So I'm just, like I said, I just want to give myself a bit of clout. I did say this is probably one of the 2 options Nintendo was going to take for giving us news about the Nintendo Switch 2. And the basic direction that it was pretty sure that the Nintendo Switch 2 was going to be directly compatible was the online service. Nintendo has been investing so heavily into the online service in the last 6 months that this didn't make sense if it wasn't going to continue with the exact same online service on the Switch 2, which is pretty much what they're saying here. Like, the online service is probably going to be a one-for-one port over onto the next Switch. Now, will they maybe revamp the eShop, get better performance on the eShop? I'm hoping they do. Like, jokes aside, I'm hoping they do. But what I do think is that every game on the eShop will stay there. Basically, the eShop is not gonna have the eShop is gonna have a new section about the Switch 2 only games, but if it is compatible, like every game from the current Switch will just become a Switch 2 game with probably some kind of identification for Switch 2 specific games. And probably if you go on the eShop from a standard Switch, like you will most likely the system will detect you. It might even like filter out Switch 2 games. It might also voluntarily not filter out Switch 2 games so you can get FOMO and see what games you can't buy, so that you're like, dude, I have to buy a Switch 2 now because like the game I want is only on Switch 2. But that's going to be something that will be left to be seen when we actually get it. But I think this is absolutely amazing news. The reason why is because if you think about all the awesome remasters and ports we've gotten for games on the Switch, I wouldn't want them to be sold to me again on the Switch 2. And by Nintendo doing the backwards compatibility, and I think this is a very, 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 very important part of the whole backwards compatibility conversation, it'll keep Nintendo from remastering the games they already remastered and trying to sell them to us again for $60. That doesn't mean they still might not try it. I just think that even from Nintendo's perspective, it'll be hard to sell the game if it's compatible. Would they sell maybe an upgrade pack, which I hope they would sell at a decent price, like a $10 upgrade pack? I'll give you an example. The new Donkey Kong Country comes out. It runs 30 FPS with lower res graphics on Switch 1. But if you're playing it on Switch 2, you can pay an extra $10 and you get like a texture, a higher texture pack, and it runs at 60 FPS. Okay? I swear you could hear the dial-up tones when you turn on the eShop and you hear "I got mail." Dude, you guys, some of you knew that, actually had that, right? You got mail. Like, oh my God, that was so freaking annoying. I had America Online. I had AOL. Like, my first internet connection was AOL. Like, oh, dude. And yes, we had AOL in Canada, by the way. I still remember, man, dial-up modems with AOL. That was so freaking garbage. I remember downloading pictures on the internet and the pictures loading like row by row of pixels. Like, people don't realize nowadays how not good they got it, because back in the day, if you wanted to download a picture, it was a matter of minutes for a picture on a blank web page. Like, a white web page with a picture on it could take minutes to load. Oh, God. Anyway, we're not going to get into that because we're sick. But that, I think, is the biggest part of awesomeness for backwards compatibility. Is the Switch 2 is starting within an amazing library of games. And it also means, like I said, from another perspective, that Nintendo can easily make bi-generational games for the first year, which is going to be a big, big selling point for Switch 1 owners that maybe don't want to jump on the Switch 2 bandwagon right away. Because not everyone is going to have the cash on day one to buy a Switch 2, and I think that is going to be a little bit of fun information. Now, I don't want to promise that every game, like, obviously not me personally, but I don't want to say that I'm saying every game will be work on both systems, but I think there will be a decent amount working on both systems, meaning that Switch 1 owners will still be able to eat well for another year maybe, however with lower performance on a lot of games. Where I don't think you're going to get a lot of games is for third-party developers. I think there's a bunch of third-party developers that have games ready to go that can only run on Switch 2 that currently cannot run on Switch 1. So there are going to be, in my opinion, a lot of Switch 2 exclusive games as well. But the backwards compatibility, to me, those are the two big talking points here that really set things apart. Is that number one, we have a huge eShop of games that we can still play. For indie games, retro-styled games, this means a lot because that means that there's still a lot to be discovered on the eShop, and we're not going to lose all this because a Switch 2 comes out. And especially for indie developers that, let's say, are still working on a Switch 1 game and it releases 2 months before the new Switch comes out. The fact that Switch 2 owners can still buy their game and play it on Switch 2 is going to be awesome for like indie developers, smaller developers as well. And basically, but like I said, two biggest points are going to be cross-generational games, awesome news, huge eShop, and finally, like I said, it is just going to be an all-around winning formula for Nintendo. I think with this now, I'm not worried anymore about the Switch next generation. I'm not going to say I was worried, but I was worried that Nintendo was going to do something too funky and that they were going to F things up. And secondly, you do realize that this most likely means that the Switch is going to be a Switch. If you know what I mean, is that some people were wondering, are they going to drop the hybrid concept or whatnot? But if all the games that run on the previous Switch have to run on the new one, I'm pretty sure that means that we're going to have a Switch that once again is going to have dock, undock mode. And I know these things seem like givens, but they were not. Do you understand what I mean? Like, there were not. Before this, it was a guess that we were going to have a Switch that was still a Switch. But if all the games from Switch 1 are directly compatible with Switch 2, that most likely means that the next Switch is still going to be a Switch at heart. It's going to have maybe some new funky design, some new funky options, but it's going to be at heart another Switch. And I've said many times before, it might disappoint a few people. I'm really just hoping for a Super Switch. I'm just hoping for a Switch that kicks the Steam Deck's ass and that basically is slightly more powerful than a PS4 so that we can get all the next generation games in a portable format. Boom, baby. Let's do this. I'm really hoping we get to play the new Monster Hunter on Switch 2. I think one of the biggest games that I want to play on the new Switch is the next Monster Hunter game, to not have to play it on PS5 or PC. But if we can get that, that would be freaking amazing. Apparently, we're going to get Elden Ring. Like, there's a lot of rumors that there's already a build of Elden Ring that is ready to go for Switch 2 when it releases. That's been ported by another company, however. That specializes in porting, by the way, but and they're doing it on behalf of FromSoft. But great news, honestly, great news. No, Nintendo's not going to go away from cartridges in this generation, guaranteed. Nintendo is one of the biggest companies that still sells physical hardware, and for physical collectors, this is where Nintendo being sort of a more old school company comes in positively. Like, it's negative for a lot of stuff for dealing with Nintendo, but where it is positive for Nintendo is the fact that they're being old school means that they're going to keep physical media around for as long as possible, in my opinion. Just because as a company, even though digital is better for them, they are not going to want to alienate their longtime customers, especially their longtime customers in Japan. Because in Japan, there's like, even though North America, Japan holds out a lot more for physical media than North America, and that's why we also have to import a lot of physical editions. You know. Okay. But that was the backwards compatibility. I don't think there's much more we can say because it'll be beating around the bush and sort of rehashing the same ideas in different ways. But awesome news. Now all we need is to know when this goddamn thing is coming out and to see it. So, but maybe last thing I was gonna say. It's guaranteed we're not seeing this before 2025 now, guys. Like, they wouldn't take the time to do this if they were announcing it anytime soon. If they were announcing this in the next month or two, or like, let's be honest, there's like a month and a half left before the end of the year. If they were announcing this in the next month and a half, they would have never put the statement out. They would have just said nothing till the trailer drops. I think it's going to be, honestly, I think it's going to be somewhere between January and February. I think it's going to be January and February. And I'm leaning towards February. I think February, they're going to reveal the system, and it's going to launch right after the fiscal year. Yeah, Aprilish. I don't think they're going to reveal it Aprilish. I know they said they were going to reveal it between now, like when they announced it, and April of next year, but I don't think. Look, maybe this is pure speculation. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to want to launch it early year. Tomorrow morning. You know what the worst would be, Wild One? Tomorrow morning, I wake up and there's a Switch 2 trailer. I think I'd actually call in sick at work and just go bang my head against the wall all day. At that point. Okay, let's get this out of the way. It is time, guys. It is time for the new Switch games of the week. So let me just stretch a bit. Now, we don't have a huge list, 12 games. But let me do a proper intro here. Okay. So, guys, it's time now. Let's take a look at what, in my opinion, are the best Nintendo Switch games releasing for this week. Now, we have about 12 games to look at. Many indie games for this week. A couple of bigger releases. But honestly, I thought there were more big releases than when I actually went through the list for this week. The good news, however, it gives us time to take a look at a few indie games that normally I might have not been able to highlight in a busier week. But I do think there are a lot of interesting games for this week. So we're going to be taking a look. And as usual, we are going in chronological order. Okay, and obviously, if any of the trailers get muted, it is simply for copyright reasons. So if you're watching this in after the video is published and a trailer gets copyrighted, I could mute the music in it. So all you need to do is go to the link below if you want the music, and you can watch it after you watch the video. So let's get started now. Since we're a little bit late on the podcast, we have a couple of releases to look at for November 12th. Actually, we have one release to look at for November 12th that we missed. The game came out yesterday. Normally, I would have been talking about it yesterday, and that is Tetris Forever. One of the longest running gaming franchises, a gaming franchise that is amazing to play for people of all ages, Tetris, and we're getting a new entry. Well, let's read through the little blurb really quickly before I go into the details of the sales price and all that. But play through the ages in Tetris Forever, this brand new collection from Digital Eclipse. Atari 50, The Making of Karateka, Lamasoft, The Jeff Miner Story, lets you experience Tetris in a whole new way. So these are the other games they released, by the way. Atari 50, I thought they were talking about what's in the collection, but no, this is the other games they released. This lets you experience Tetris in a whole new way. Drop Tetraminos through different decades in Tetris history. Coming soon. So coming soon meant November 12th, and the game sells for $34.99 on the Nintendo Switch eShop. If you like Tetris, I think this is going to be a great collection. I do, however, think that the previous Tetris game we got, which I have a little blank now, is maybe the best overall Tetris game you can pick up on the eShop. But if you never get enough of Tetris, this is definitely a collection to take a look at. Let's take a look at the trailer. Tetris Effect. Thank you so much, Frenchy Mom. This is more your classic Tetrises. So someone who wants to live back through the classics. Honestly, I love that monochromatic style. Also, this is a really well constructed trailer. I like this trailer because often in these collections they do a really bad job of highlighting the different Tetris games. I find they did a pretty good job in this trailer, so hats off to them for that. But definitely, this is a collection for classic Tetris fans or someone who's never tried Tetris and wants to start from the beginning. Yeah, honestly, I think that Tetris is one of those gaming series that is universally recognized and underrated at the same time. Very few series this can actually happen to, but I think that Tetris is underrated because people forget how fun it is till you jump back into it. And the proof of that is that I myself had sort of put Tetris aside for quite a few years, saying I'm beyond Tetris now. Oh, Tetris, it's one of those classic games that I played the heck out of, and it's boring today. Till my wife discovered it, I would say last year, and honestly, for about 2 months straight, we would do daily Tetris matches. Now, it was on Tetris Puyo Puyo, okay, that we were playing, but basically, nonetheless, it remains Tetris at its heart. And we would never play the Puyo Puyo version. We'd always play the Tetris version of the game. And Tetris 99 as well. And that's why I say the game is underrated at the same time. If you haven't played it in years, if you have a Nintendo Switch Online membership, go online, try it out again. You will be surprised how fun Tetris is and how quickly you can get back into it if you challenge yourself. And Tetris 99 is actually also an excellent way to get back into it. So Tetris Forever, released yesterday, $34.99. It's maybe a little expensive for a collection of old Tetris games, but I'm pretty sure we'll see an eShop deal pretty soon. So if $34 is $35 is a little bit much to spend on it, you can always wait for a sale. Okay. Now we jump right away to November 14th, with probably one of the biggest releases of this week, which is Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, which, by the way, will be packaged with remakes of Dragon Quest 1 and 2, although 3 is going to be like the main game. Okay, if you've played the original Dragon Quest games, you already know that 1 and 2 are very simple games. They're amazing games, but they're very simple retro games, which is and not much of a storyline there, which is why the focus is on Dragon Quest 3, because I would say that Dragon Quest 3 is where Dragon Quest became a real RPG. Like it's always been a real RPG, but you know what I mean? Like with actually a storyline and characters that evolve through the storyline. It happened in Dragon Quest 3, which is why they're focusing the remake on that one because it's really the first one. Lucian Kefka says, I found and bought a complete set of Heart Gold Soul Silver for $15 on in a garage sale today. I'm literally the happiest man alive. That is an amazing pickup, dude. Wow. Like it's crazy because it's harder and harder to find deals like that just because everyone now knows what's worth money and what's not worth money. And Topaz is being freaking crazy. Except I bought a really awesome game at GameStop last week that I was looking for a while for a physical version, and I picked it up. I'll show you guys later. It's not necessarily a great game. It's just a game that skyrocketed in price lately. So yeah, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake. Now this is going to be a $60 game, so it's $59.99. It's releasing on November 14th, so that will be tomorrow. Now, tomorrow's Wednesday? No, sorry, that will be Thursday, November, because it's true. We're past midnight. That's why I see the 13th. So this will be on Thursday that it's releasing. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Long have we waited. So long have we waited for
Topaz,
this day.
you're blocking the screen. Girl, you're blocking the screen. Sorry, guys, I couldn't hit the full screen button because Topaz was blocking it. Yeah, there is some censorship stuff. I'll talk briefly about it. I don't want to spend like an hour on it. I'll talk briefly about the censorship stuff. Am I happy about it? No. But is it going to stop me from playing the game? The answer is no as well.
You know that to stand against mighty Barabas is to throw away your life. And yet you still came.
Yeah, the music is amazing.
Surely one such as you will be able to deliver us from the menace of the Archfiend.
You must gather the orbs and take them to the shrine of the Everbird.
Use red blades to bring peace to the world. You know literature. I won't make you suffer much.
The time of departure is upon us.
I'm worried that the music is going to get me freaking
must be done.
copyrighted here. There's a very strong possibility.
Listen well, child.
But it's too good. I
Vortigern.
can't mute
The
it.
light will
I'll mute it
return.
maybe in post.
Of that I am sure.
Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake. Available November 14th.
Now it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna come with a remake of the first two Dragon Quests. I don't know why they didn't talk about it in the trailer here, but it's supposed to come with a remake of the first two Dragon Quests for people who pick up the physical version. I'm not sure if the digital comes with it as well. I'm assuming it does, but I know it's supposed to come. It's called the Erdrick trilogy because that is the hero you play in the game, Erdrick, in the first three games. But ultimately, I was just gonna mention concerning the censorship stuff. Basically, Akira Toriyama did the designs of the original characters, and a lot of the cleavage and stuff has been reduced. It's not insane, but like the female warrior armor and stuff was like just like a few breastplates and stuff over sensitive areas. They've basically added like undershirts and stuff like that. I don't agree with modifying classic artwork like that. The excuse that the developer is giving is so that they can hit the lower age requirements in different areas like North America. So, the whole rating system, so that they can sell the game to younger kids. The one thing that I sort of like, and I said that when they originally announced it, that doesn't make sense, is how many kids do you think are going to be playing the remake of Dragon Quest III? The main audience for this game are people that are most likely in their late 20s to early 40s, okay, that grew up playing the original games. Having this hit a, like, G rating, it's not G, but it's an E for everyone rating, I'm not sure how many extra sales they think it's going to net them. Because I don't think a 12-year-old is going to be like, Mom, I really want to play Dragon Quest III Remake for Christmas this year. Okay? So I do think it's a bad marketing move because they're alienating their primary focus group to possibly get sales from a group that they're probably not going to get sales from. Okay? And I've talked about this before, and it goes back to that DEI woke stuff, okay? And like I said, I'm in parenthesis once again. It doesn't make sense when it goes against your focus group of the game, okay? They shouldn't be doing those policies when it's not going to net them any extra sales, most likely, to make those choices, and it's going to hurt them with their focused target group. So, but we're not going to talk about any more about it. That is my stance on it. I'm still going to play the game, though, because I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan. Dragon Warrior was a game I played the crap out of on the NES. And, I'm still going to replay the HD 2D remake, okay? Me too. I'm okay with it. Like, it's not that. It's just the fact that why... You know what I mean? Is doing something for a dumb reason still remains a dumb reason. Even though I can live with it, it still to me remains a dumb reason. So I'm like, why do it? Okay, enough talk about Dragon Quest 3 HD Remake. Like I said, that was November 14th, $59.99. Hope you pre-ordered the game. I did. Gonna go pick it up. But I love the game. I love the series, so hopefully it's going to be nonetheless a very good remake. Next, we have probably my biggest release of the week. I thought it would be Dragon Quest III, but I'm actually even more excited about this game. We're going to be playing it on stream on Thursday. So once again, on November 14th, we're getting Lego Horizon Adventures. That is going to be selling for $59.99 for the regular edition and $69.99 for the digital deluxe, which gives you a bunch of extra skins for the game, by the way. So if you do pick up the digital deluxe for the extra $10, you get different skins in the game and different characters unlocked, I think. Now, why am I playing this? Because this is one of the first true Sony IPs to make its way to Nintendo. When I'm saying true Sony IPs, I mean, I'm not counting like Crash Bandicoot, which was an Activision IP, okay? But Lego Horizons is a first-party Sony IP that is coming to Nintendo. Have to play this game. Can't wait to play it. By the way, I've never played the original Horizon. I have it. I played like, when I say I've never played it, I played like an hour of it because I haven't had time to play the whole game. But I'm actually going to be experiencing the storyline for the first time in Lego form. Okay? So it's actually going to be pretty crazy. Let's watch the trailer.
Whoa, look at those chompers! Okay, trail spots aren't cheap, so let's get started. A hunter with a mysterious past and her, very heroic friends are all that stands
I love
in
the
the
Lego
way
humor.
of an unspeakable evil. Join them as they explore, hunt, collect wacky outfits, and decorate their village. Nailed it. This is awesome. But wait, there's more. With the digital deluxe edition, you get this exciting blue roller thing. And snazzy costumes.
Yeah, you get like a
the
roller
Shadow
coaster in
Stillborn
costumes.
outfit. And this, I don't know what that
Sax
is.
boy.
That or that. Or why they're climbing in that cannon. But look how much fun they're having. Come and join the party in Mother's Heart. Phew, got it all.
No,
right.
I didn't find out where the
Oh, I forgot
robots
to
came
mention the
from.
pre-order.
Okay, so that is going to be Lego Horizons. To me, it's my biggest release for this week. Super excited for it. I hope it runs well on the Switch. I am a little bit worried. I'm worried, but I'm not worried because Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, actually ran fantastic on the Switch for the Switch. Like, I know it runs better on other systems, but I was surprised of how well it runs on the Switch. So if they can get that game to work, I'm pretty sure that Lego Horizons is going to work pretty well. I'm just really hoping it does. Because if it runs bad on the Switch, I will be super disappointed. But to me, this is the biggest release of the week. Can't wait to play it. We're going to be playing it on stream. And by the way, big news, we are going to have a stream on Thursday because I'm working Friday night, but we are going to have a late stream on Friday night. And I'll be telling you why, because we're going to be looking at the game we're going to be playing on Friday night a little bit in a few minutes when we get to it. But for those of you who are a fan of my streams, we are getting a double stream for gaming this week, Thursday and Friday. Although I do will warn you, it's going to be a later and shorter stream on Friday. It's going to be around 10 p.m. Eastern on Friday, and it's going to be probably a stream that's going to be 1 to 1.5 hour. Okay. Let's look at our next game coming out also on November 12th, which is called Petit Island, which seems to be a game of French origin. Now, this is more a wholesome game for this week. A cozy game, I would say. It interested me. Is it on top of my list? No, but I liked what I saw in the trailer, so I do want to look at it with you guys. This is coming out on November 14th. It's going to have a sale price of $29.99. It's currently on sale on pre-release for $26.99. And I can only see, I'm going to say right away, the price point is going to be my biggest sticking point for this one, because $30 does feel a little bit expensive, however, for what we're going to see. I think this game would do much better around $20. It looks like almost like a Pokemon Snap / Toem type concept, if you played Toem, the indie game. And I mean, the main character is a cat. How could I not show you guys this game? It's Topaz's top choice for this week, by the way. Topaz, you want to come see your game? No? You're good? She wanted to get pet for like 2-3 minutes. So this is Petit Island. Like I said, it looks like a cozy adventure. Yes, it did remind me a lot of Little Gator. I was going to mention it, Frenchy Mom, but you beat me to it. I loved Little Gator, by the way. It was a cozy, fun adventure with a lot of heart. This one sort of reminds me of that. I just would have liked them to maybe go a little bit more into details into the, like, what exactly, is it quest-based? Is it just open world and there's really just like adventuring without any quests? Or is there like a little storyline that you're going to follow and develop? I would have liked to go into a little bit of details. Like I said, my biggest issue though is the $30 price point. I don't want to say the game isn't worth it. It's just a very tough price point to sell right now with all the other games coming out that are competing for your attention and your money. And to me, this feels like a game that would have been a much better sell at $20. Like at $20, it would have been much easier to suggest this game like to everyone. But I haven't played the game, so I don't want to, I give my opinion about the price points, but obviously, till you play the game, you can't really know if it's going to be really worth it or not. But I've seen enough Switch games at this point where I know what, in my opinion, should be the targeted price point for each game. Okay, next still on November 14th, and you'll see November 14th is a big day. It has like 90% of today's releases. We have Little Big Adventure, Twinsen's Quest, which is also going to be selling for $29.99. Now, this is supposed to be the remake of another game, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know the original game. But what I saw did interest me, so we're going to take a look at it nonetheless. If someone in the chat knows the original Twinsen, like Little Big Adventure Twinsen's Quest, you can shout out if the original game was pretty good or not. Let's take a look at the trailer in the meantime.
Tu es tombé dans mon piège. C'était trop facile.
It's in French.
Vous êtes
Darn.
naïf.
Twinsen, il t'a laissé partir.
Non, je me suis évadé.
Cache-toi, vite.
Suivez-nous.
Luna! Vite, il faut que je retourne à la maison.
Okay, I'll translate this for you guys. Let's start it over and I'll translate you what's happening.
Peggy 7.
Tu es tombé dans mon piège.
You fell into my trap.
C'était trop facile.
It was way too easy.
Que vous êtes naïf.
You are so naive. Here she says, Twinsen, they let you go?
Il t'a laissé partir.
Non, je me suis évadé.
No, I managed to break out. We're gonna get a direct English to French translation.
Suivez-nous.
Hide, quick. Follow us.
Luna! Vite, il faut que je retourne à la maison. Sur l'île de la Citadelle.
Quick, I've got to go back home on the island of the Citadel. I think the dialogue's over now.
Je me nomme Twinsen. Ça te dit quelque chose?
My name is Twinsen. Do you recognize that name?
J'y crois pas. Tu es parti de Citadelle finalement. On va retrouver Luna.
On va retrouver le quoi? Hold on. I'm not sure what she said.
Fun Frock!
No,
Où est ma sœur?
Dude.
On va retrouver Luna.
Okay. You're gone from Citadel. We're gonna find Luna.
Fun Frock! Où est ma sœur?
Funfrock, where's my sister? There we go. It looks like a fun action-adventure game. Like I said, I would have loved to know the original game. Honestly, guys, I could have found the English trailer. I just thought it was way funnier if I would just translate the trailer line by line for you guys. I'm like, you know what? Let's for once use my English to French skills on stream. Well, like I did a sort when my family. By the way, I fixed the sound delay. After I watched the stream where we tasted the chocolate during my birthday stream, and I realized there was a sound delay. And that's actually one of the other reasons I was super pissed yesterday, because it took me a while to figure out why there's a sound delay with that camera. And it took me about an hour and a half to figure out how to fix it. But I was super annoyed because when I watched the stream back, I'm like, holy crap, there's like a half-second sound delay. But yeah. So action-adventure game. It looks super interesting. I actually really dig the art style. I dig like this kind of art style here like this. I'm just wondering, once again, $30 is a pretty high price point for an indie game that I'm not 100% sold on. So I do want to warn, maybe wait for a review on this one, maybe wait for a sale, but it definitely is something that caught my eye for this week. Okay. Next, we have also on November 14th, we have Deserted. Now, this game is going to be selling for $25.99. And it is once again another one of those games that it caught my eye, but it can go either way. Okay? The sound delay, it's just that camera has a delay in translating the audio. So I have to manually input a delay into the microphone when I'm using that camera. And I just had to figure out it's actually super easy, but I didn't know it was how easy it was to actually input a manual sound delay. And it's just I had to find the right sound delay to input into OBS so that the voice overlaps on the camera properly. Like you can't get the camera to go faster, so you got to delay the sound to fix it. Perfect. So let's jump into Deserted for November 14th. And I'll talk about why I'm like, game looks interesting, but sort of on the fence.
Signal lock. Scanning. 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 Warning, warning, gravitational anomaly. Scanning. Stay small.
Now it looks like a sort of like a almost like a Souls-like combat system, but with like a top-down perspective, an isometric viewpoint. Now these are the sections that really attracted me. At first, when I was seeing that basic gameplay, I was like, what? But then we have these awesome like speeder bike sections. However, the gameplay does look a bit stiff, okay? That's maybe me, what's worrying me about the game being fun is that the gameplay looks a bit stiff. That can work, but it can also be a problem. Yeah, we didn't cover Quidditch Cup because I don't know. I didn't even check if the game was actually good, but definitely not a game that caught my eye. Oh, it's a 5-minute trailer. This is long as heck. I didn't realize it was this long when I was watching it yesterday. I was like, holy crap, was it this long? We'll watch it. We're committed now. We're like more than halfway there. Like, parts of the visuals I actually love. Others I'm very unsure about. Actually, I'll tell you right now, I find that the least interesting part of the whole visual design is the design of your main character. And that sort of annoys me. Like, the world and the enemies look like they're way more interesting visually than the main character. And that sort of annoys me a bit. You know what I mean? Like, why did they give him, like, a gray jumpsuit? Well, that's why it reminds me of Souls-like. It seems voluntarily stiff, forcing you to like move by dodging and using like a dash mechanic and stuff like that. Like I said, that can work for a game, but it can also hurt a game. But I don't know if you guys agree with me. The least interesting visual design of everything we're seeing here is the main character. Like, the world, the enemies, everything looks awesome, except the main character. And look, there's co-op play here. There's 2 of them. So like I said, I'm really on the fence about this one. As I am for pretty much every game, because till you try them, you can't know if the game is good just by looking at a trailer. But like some games, you really have a much better feeling. You know, you're like, oh, this one I'm like, you know, 90% sure it's going to be decent. Oh, this one I'm like, you know, 20% sure it's going to be not like the opposite, like 90% sure it's going to be awful. This one I'm like, it has me very interested. It has me very interested. Grovel, we know Marvel versus Capcom will be good. Yes, Grovel, we know it will be good. I finally I've decided I won't be playing it, Grovel. You know, it's been out for too long. People are going to be too good online, and it's just not going to be worth it anymore. So finally, like, I'm going to pick up the physical version, but we're just not going to play it on stream. You know, I don't think it's worth it at this point anymore. So, okay, so that was Deserted. Well, we're not going to play the story mode either. I can't keep a straight face. I can't keep lying. I can't keep lying. Grovel probably already knows I'm lying either way. But that was Deserted. So I do think it's one to keep a definite eye on. I'm hoping some reviews come out. I wish I had time to review it. I know I don't, because like I said, I'm already behind on a lot of content, and I will catch it up. Like, I'm determined to catch it up. So I know I won't have time to try it for this week, and you guys will know why in a little bit, because I have some things coming up. Next, we are moving on to the Irem Collection Volume 2. Now, I'll be honest, Volume 1 I wasn't super interested in, but this Volume 2 has me very interested, except for the price once again. So Irem Collection, by the way, is a collection of classic games that from Irem, and basically these are generally most of them are run and gun shooters or shoot 'em ups. And the only thing is, this one is also coming out on November 14th, and it is going to be selling for $34.99. Now, it's a collection of 3 retro games, and that is, to me, it is too expensive. We'll look, and it's too bad, because the retro games actually look really awesome. But $35 right now in the current landscape feels like too much. And this is a recurring theme for this week. If you look, Petit Island, $29.99. Little Big Adventure, $29.99. Deserted Island, $25.99. Irem Collection, $34.99. Like, dude, all these games are hurting. Like, I feel they're all about $10 too much to be successful given the landscape. Where people aren't going to take a dive on an unknown game when it's $26. You know what I know? You know what I mean? And nothing against the developers. I know development costs are big. I know they might need to sell the games at this price just to break a profit. It's just that if people don't actually try the games, it's not going to work. And at these price points, I'm just scared many people won't want to drop the cash to try these games. But let's take a look at Irem Collection Volume 2, $34.99 on November 14th as well. And this is Volume 2, sorry. So we have Air Duel, which is a shoot 'em up that looks honestly amazing. We have Gun Force, which is like a run and gun, almost Metal Slug style shooter. I love the fact that you use different vehicles, like a tank and a motorcycle. And we have Gun Force 2, which seems like an evolved version of the other game. Looks even crazier. I love the visuals. And there we have it. So like I said, yeah, same feeling here. 30, like it looks like awesome games, but it looks like they're just too expensive. They look fun, but definitely one of those collections that I think you should wait for a good sale on it. I think sales on video games will actually fall this year. Yeah, well, I think Black Friday is going to be a big push for the Switch games this year. I think a lot of Switch games are going to hit a good low this year. We're getting into Black Friday season, so I'm also going to have to kick up the eShop deals, which is why I'm saying that right now I want to get the reviews that I've done out of the way, and I do want to reserve, however, like the next couple of weeks to covering all the Black Friday sales, as well as the leftover sales that are on sale right now. We have some really other great games on sale right now. So tomorrow I'm shifting right into that gear and trying to also get finally at least Nico de Rico out there and a couple of other little indie games that I played, like Speedo Llama and whatnot. Like I have like 5 or 6 games that I played through now that I need to do reviews on. Okay. Next, we have also on November 14th, a Bullet Runner. Now, this visually and conceptually, I loved. Now, I'm wondering if the execution is going to deliver. But the good news is that it is slightly cheaper than the other games this week at $18.99. It is called Bullet Runner. It is releasing on November 14th as well. And basically, they describe it as Bullet Runner is what Doom Eternal would be if Bethesda would be into twin stick shooters. So that description automatically there had me extremely intrigued. Now let's see what their vision of is Doom Eternal if Bethesda made basically twin stick shooters.
They locked me in the cell, and they're gonna pay for it. We're gonna need big fucking guns.
We're gonna need big effing guns, guys.
They won't give up that easily. So, let's show these fuckers who they're dealing with.
Let's just say there's M-rated language here. Like, it reminds me of Enter the Gungeon as well. Like, the basic gameplay style. Like, honestly, and that's probably, like, rather than Doom Eternal meets Bethesda, I would actually say it feels like if the developers of Enter the Gungeon did Doom Eternal style.
Wait a minute.
You know what I mean?
Why are you still here? Get the fuck out of here.
So, basically, a Bullet Runner has me extremely intrigued for this week. If the gameplay is solid, this can be an extremely fun twin-stick shooter. And like I said, Enter the Gungeon is one of my favorite like indie dungeon runners. It looks super funny, exactly. However, that's exactly where I was getting to Wild One. Even though it's cheaper at $18.99, it still feels expensive at that price. And I know game prices are supposed to be going up as time goes on because things are getting more expensive. But still, when you compare to other games that are out there in the same styles that are cheaper, it's hard to suggest these. In the sense of, like, would I recommend buying this over Enter the Gungeon? Very hard without playing this game, because I know that Enter the Gungeon is a fantastic game. And it often goes on sale for around $5. Okay. Bullet Runner. So that is our 8th game for today. So we have 4 games left. Now, our next game is going to be getting a special mention. The reason why is because this is the game we are going to be playing on Friday night. Now, I do want to tell you guys, first of all, tonight is not sponsored, but it will be a sponsored stream. So that's why the stream is happening on Friday night. I'm actually getting sponsored to play this game for about an hour. I'm saying an hour to an hour and a half. But it is an arcade style game. It reminds me a lot of Snow Bros. Okay? The visual style is very different and the gameplay, but when you actually play the game, it reminded me a lot of Snow Bros. Okay? For the moment, it is also a game that I've actually quite enjoyed in the arcade style with a nice modern twist. Sponsored by KFC and Kaleido Games. It is also a first release for a solo developer, which is the kind of game that I love to support. And I know you're going to say, oh, of course you're supporting it. It's a sponsored stream. But trust me, I probably wouldn't take a sponsored stream on a game that I would find garbage unless it was like a, like something where I could use the money to like reinvest some stuff into the channel. But obviously, I said I wanted to do a little more sponsored content. This stuff went forward on the channel so that we can actually get to doing bigger and better things. And this will be a start to that. Hopefully, I'll be getting more of these generally. And at the same time, it gives me a reason to put time into showing an awesome game off for everyone. So let's take a look at the trailer. No, hold on. That's my graphics card being a biatch. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, there we go. It caught up. What I love about it, there's also a ton of unlockable characters and stuff. Like you'll see, you have a couple of characters to start with, but you have a lot of unlockable ones. And the gameplay, like I said, resembles a lot Snow Bros. You basically turn enemies into weapons and then you try to like roll them down the stage. Boss fights are pretty fun as well. And this one's going to be selling for $14.99. So it's releasing on November 14th as well. I forgot to say the price. November 14th, and it is selling for $14.99. So we have Slam and Roll. Now, like I said, we are going to be talking way more about this game on Friday. I do invite you all to check out this stream on Friday if you're watching this game and you have some interest. Trust me, it is something that is worth it if you're into retro arcade style games. So Slam and Roll, $14.99, November 14th. Let's move on. We have 3 more games to go for today. Next, we also have on November 14th, Rage of the Dragons Neo, which is the port of a Neo Geo fighter, if I'm not mistaken. I'm unfamiliar once again with the source material. It happens sometimes. It's happened lately a decent amount. We're getting into retro games now that I have not played myself. But this is supposed to be the port of a retro fighter, and visually the game looks extremely interesting. Once again, the same problem as a lot of games for this week. It is $26.99, which feels expensive for the port of an old retro fighter. But let's take a look because visually there's a lot going on here, and you guys can let me know what you think. Like the fighting really reminds me of Street Fighter Alpha. Like if I'm looking at the visuals and the way the gameplay plays out, reminds me a lot of Street Fighter Alpha. Or Street Fighter 3 maybe. Maybe 3 or third style, like 3/3 strike. But no, I would say more Alpha. Alpha 2, Alpha 3. So like I said, if you're into fighting games, it seems extremely interesting. It seems like one of those games that could definitely be worth checking out. But at the same time, like I said, I do find it a little hard to suggest at a $26.99 price point since it's the port of a Neo Geo game. But you know what? We could get to be surprised. Exactly, $15 to $20. I said it. Everything feels like about $10 off where I would have put them if I was in charge of marketing these games. Okay, next. Our last game for November 14th and our before last game for this week, we have Mind Cop that is coming out on November 14th. Now, this is a narrative-driven game, and I often don't suggest narrative-driven games in these upcoming games because it's very hard to know ahead of time if a narrative-driven game is going to be good, simply because it all depends on the narrative. And there's no way to know from a trailer if the narrative's going to be good or not. So I try to stay away from them. However, Mind Cop has such an original premise to it and such an awesome visual style that I wanted to show it to all of you because I think it's one to keep on the radar for this week. Now, once again, Mind Cop is going to be selling for $18.99 and it releases on November 14th. Let's take a look at Mind Cop. It has that awesome cartoony style to it, and you'll see there's some mini games that seem really interesting. It's a detective game, so you need to find killers and stuff. So you interrogate suspects. But this is the special part, is that you have mind powers, and the mind powers play out as mini games inside the other person's mind. And that's the part that really intrigued me.
Well, I had a crazy dream. Do you want to hear?
Not really, no.
It was pretty crazy, Linda.
And the song was just insane.
Now back to our topic of humans killing other humans.
What? That wasn't our topic.
Yeah, it's like that funky, weird-ass game that just sort of like could deliver an awesome storyline and some really fun times. I hate when it does the autoplay stuff. So, Mind Cop, I think if you're into the narrative gameplay and you want to take a chance for this week, this is the chance to take. I have this feeling that this is going to turn out to be a decent. $18.99. It is a bit expensive though, but I feel like this one might actually be worth it. At least it's under 20. You know what I mean? It's under 20. The visual style seems high quality. And if those mini games deliver, it could be something extremely interesting. Okay. And now our last game for this week. I actually have a review code for the next game on the list. I'm going to try to play enough of it to get at least a first impressions video on it. It is Goblin Slayer, Another Adventure, Nightmare Feast. Now, number one, they could work on titles, okay? Personally, by the way, I'm not familiar with the Goblin Slayer anime. Now, the character looks like the same. I know what the character looks from Goblin Slayer, and the character in this does look like the character from the Goblin Slayer anime visually, but I don't know if there's an actual direct link with the Goblin Slayer anime. Okay? So if anyone does know if there's a link, once again, you can share it in the chat. But this is a strategy RPG. I just want to say they should work on titles because Goblin Slayer, Another Adventurer, Nightmare Feast is a mouthful and a terrible title for a game. Okay? It's dark. Don't watch it with your kids. Okay, I won't. But you can maybe, once you watch the trailer, Jumping Bear, tell me if it seems to be pulling like from the anime or not. This one will be releasing, however, on November 15th. And it is a expensive game. It is selling for $39.99. But it seems like a full-fledged strategy RPG. So it seems like those, like, a double A game. You know what I mean? In between an indie and a triple A, you've got like a double A or you've got a triple I. But this seems like one of those. Like it feels very Disgaea-ish, Final Fantasy Tactics Ogre-ish. Like this character comes. This is the character when I think of Goblin Slayer and I think of what I've seen visually. Like this guy looks like what I've seen from like promo images of the anime.
ゴブリンを殺す。そしてより時を稼ぐ。ゴブリンスレイ。そう言わなかったか。
And obviously it's been changed from October 25th, so the release date isn't good in the trailer. It is releasing this week on November 15th. So there we have it. The 12 games for this week releasing on the Nintendo Switch that I think we should take a look at. Like I said, Goblin Slayer, I do have a review code, so I will be able to get a first impressions video out there. I pre-ordered this game because they announced it would have English, but when it released, they said it would update to add English at a later. Oh, I haven't started it up, so I don't know if it has English. I could check it out. I'm embargoed, so I can't show you guys, but I could definitely start it up and take a look if there's English in the game for the moment. But definitely, if you're into strategy RPGs, visually, the game looks like it has everything it needs to be very successful. I just can't promise that the mechanics are going to deliver or the storyline's going to deliver. But it seems very interesting, and I imagine if you're a fan of the anime, it's going to be hitting even harder. I'm going to be playing it from the perspective of someone who's not really familiar with the anime. I watch a lot of anime, I just never really got to Goblin Slayer. So that is it for the Switch games, like I said, for this week. The 12 games to watch out for this week. Like I said, I do think there's a little bit of a pricing issue for this week on a lot of the games where we're taking a risk on an unknown IP and the games are priced at a price point where it's hard to recommend to take a chance. But most likely a few reviews are going to come out. And either way, there's also most likely going to be a sale on a lot of these games coming up pretty soon because we're hitting Black Friday season. So I wouldn't even be surprised to see some of these games in a couple of weeks hitting like, maybe not like 50% off like the games that have been out for a while, but maybe we'd see like a 15-20% off some of these games. But yeah, so those were the games for this week. So I hope you all found something that you enjoyed in the list. And I hope I'll see all of you in the next video. Sorry, that was the little intro I do. I'm going to redo that last part. So I hope you found something that you enjoyed in these Nintendo Switch games. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video. Okay, yeah, I did like a little mini outro there just so that I can... Tomorrow when I release the new games video, it sort of makes sense. Because it's the outro that's hard to find sometimes in the video. Like, where it starts is easy, where it ends, because often, like, you know, we keep chatting and whatnot. It's hard to find that spot. Okie doke. So, you said you wanted to check out PlayAsia, right? PlayAsia, give me a sec, let me just log in. Play Asia off screen. Okie doke. So you said there was something cool on Play Asia, right? So what's this? Free shipping for orders over 59. Wow, that's pretty good. Because it's normally $100 until November 18th. So we've got like 5 more days to go. Why can't I go back? Okay, that's number 1. Venus Vacation Prism. This looks like your kind of game, Bear. Pokemon featuring Hatsune Miku. Okay. I'm just looking at the highlights here. Weekly specials starting at $6.99. I like the weekly specials. Sushi Striker. Underrated puzzle game. Honestly. Oh, it's on 3DS. Never mind. I mean, if you have a 3DS, it can still be cool to pick it up. But, yeah, I don't think it's like going to be a big recommendation. PS5 for JoJo's Adventure. I actually didn't check out that game, JoJo's. First page scroll down. Okay, home page. Let's just... Scroll down. $3 for $70. Don't they normally announce this up top? Oh, 4 for $80 here. Hold on. Click the banner of the first promotion. 4 for 80. 2 for 70. You said 3 for 7. Purchase 1 bundle per category for $70. Where am I missing it? Purchase a bundle of 4 items, toys, apparel, or music for $80. Oh, 3 games for $70. I'm so dumb. We're good. 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 We are good. Oh my God, Dave the Diver in the 3 for $70. Hold on. I'm just going to switch prices because they're in Canadian dollars. United States dollars. There. Okay. Dave the Diver, but you're not saving that much if you take Dave the Diver, but still great pickup nonetheless. It's the Anniversary Edition 2. Yeah, it's the multi-language. Yeah, exactly. When you see multi-language, there's almost always English. Phoenix Wright Attorney, the triple trilogy. But once again, you're not saving that much because it's 25. Because 3 times 25 is 75, right? Oh, Stray. Stray's coming out next week. Stray could be really interesting for the physical for 27. It's actually really cheap for the physical to begin with because I think the physical here is going to be like $30 and it's the multi-language, so you're going to have English. Robot Wars 30 multi, that's always a good pickup. Monster Hunter Stories, but like you're not saving that much money on the 3 for $70 though here. I just want to try and see like is there anything that you Ninja Reborn, Shadow of the Ninja Reborn physical. You're still not saving a lot of money, though. Hold on. Let's see if... Can we go price? Yeah. Let's just see if there's, like, anything crazy price-wise. What? The most expensive is $27 in the category? Okay, that sort of sucks. So they purposely only put games that are around like $30 for them. But a lot of these games you don't find for $30 here necessarily. The one thing for physicals though right now that's a little bit hard to recommend is if the games are going to be available in North America, we are coming up on Black Friday. So I just want to warn, awesome deal. However, I would focus on the games that are not available in North America. Rainbow Cotton. Awesome. Thunder Ray. Like, honestly, I'd like to have a physical of Thunder Ray because even though it's not like the... It maybe didn't live up to what I was expecting. It's still, like, visually, it's still an awesome Punch-Out game. Like, it's hard to live up to something like Punch-Out, and it maybe didn't quite make it. Oh my god, the Fist Forged in Shadow Torch Limited Edition. And it's the European edition. You're getting a crap ton of stuff here. You're getting the digital soundtrack. You're getting the steelbook, stickers, the lithographs. I have this. Like, the thing is, it might drop in Black Friday, but, like, still, this is, like, worth it. Worth it. Even though for them, they have it cheap. Like, wow, a lot of games have fallen really hardcore in price. I think I need to do physical deal videos again. I think I need to do physical deal videos again. I wish I had more time. Agalos. But this is the code in the box, right? Is it? It's not? Is this the code in the box or is it not? Because if this is not the code in the box, I want this like right now. I can't find the not code in the box version anywhere. Like the problem is the visual here doesn't say code in the box, but it could be the wrong visual. PlayAsia has a little problem sometimes with providing the right visual. Just want to... Wow, that could be big, guys. By the way, because this game has skyrocketed in price. Let me just show you guys the game I picked up this week that I was talking about. Yeah, we could email them to figure out if it's the so I just want to show quick, like I said, like I got the Tomb Raider remastered triple collection, the deluxe edition. So that and the used game that I found for $22 at GameStop was Neverwinter Nights, the enhanced edition. It's a very nice remaster of Neverwinter Nights, and for some reason this has skyrocketed to like $80 online, the physical edition. Why? Well, it's a great game. I honestly think it's because of the popularity of Baldur's Gate 3. A lot of people are going back to the older ones to pick them up. And I think that basically they stopped printing the game, so that's why the price has gone up. Yeah, no, honestly, there's a couple of gems here. Like Catherine Fullbody is another one that would be funny. The Cotton 16-bit tribute is pretty decent. Bowpath of the Teal Lotus, I would love to have that on Switch, not on PS5 though, because there's PS5 games mixed in here. But there's 88 pages, eh? So, ooh, there's a lot of stuff. Trigger Witch, good. Deadcraft, but Deadcraft you can pick up for $5 digitally, but if you do want a physical, like there's good games here. I'm trying to point out the stuff that like monetarily I find would be worth it for a physical edition. So if I'm skipping things like Mega Man 11, it's not that it's bad. It's just that Ghostbusters the video game remastered is awesome, and it's harder to find now physically than it used to be. And this is an awesome game. This is the best Ghostbusters game still, in my opinion, that we have on the Switch. House of the Dead Remastered. Look, I still find that game extremely fun, even though the controls can be a little rough. Oh, Snow Bros. Well, this is expensive. If you want the expensive. Like it's expensive for the game if you want the version from Limited Run. So the fact that you can get the anniversary edition multilingual, pretty freaking solid here. Sorry guys, we're going quickly through, but you know, I know not everyone is necessarily into the physical stuff. The Wonder Boy collection, is this the good one or the bad one? This is the bad one. This is the small one. So no, this isn't the one you want. This only has 4 games in it. There's one that has like 12 games in it. I could be missing some too, but a Disco Elysium, Pathless. But these are things we can like. The one thing I want to say is, like I said, I'm going to repeat it again. Games that are available in North America, I would wait till after Black Friday. I know this deal will be over by then, but it's still hard to suggest because I think this being the last year of the Switch, we might find some real bargain bin deals. You might find like you might find some retailers that are finally liquidating games at like $10 a pop, like Walmart and stuff. They might be liquidating like their Switch sections, like all the games that are like 30 or less. They might be liquidating them at like $10 a pop. I wouldn't be surprised that this year is like the year that happens for a lot of their games. Death's Gambit, Afterlife, great game. Sifu. But these aren't expensive games and they're available in North America. Dead Cells. River City Rival Showdown. Can be fun to have. Deadly Premonitions 2. That Agalos is really bugging me though, because you don't know how long I've been looking for a physical edition that won't cost me like $80, because it's around 80. Snow Bros Special Edition, the English. So if you want the exact same one, that limited run sells for way more, they have it. I think it's limited run. I might be mistaken by the limited company. Trinity Trigger. I actually have the day 1 edition of that game. That's one of the special editions I haven't opened yet. I have the day 1. Hold on, it's always hard to show a close up. I have the day 1 edition of Trinity Trigger. Like I can open up this part. I've never opened it up, but I can open up this part because it's like not sealed, or is it? It's hard to open. Okay, we're gonna wait because I'm not sure how it opens. Oh, it flips like this. Hey, someone opened it. I didn't open it. I think. Okay, well, we can look at it. Someone opened it. Never mind. The plastic seal is broken. Day 1 edition, soundtrack, and we've got like the art of Trinity Trigger. A game that was good. Oh, they don't seal it. That's why it's like that. Okay. Okay, that's why. I was like, hey, I was told it was brand new, and it was, but still awesome. Awesome edition. Game was slightly disappointing. It's a good game. It just didn't live up to the height of you know, obviously they were trying to play off of Chrono Trigger and whatnot, and they like they delivered a good game. Just it didn't live up to like Chrono Trigger and that legacy. By the way, these are all double dips on top. Everything I bought is what I said I would stop doing. I said I would stop double dipping, and everything I bought over the last few weeks are all double dips. Demon Throttle, which is a physical only game, by the way. You cannot buy this game on the eShop. Demon Throttle. Just shooting it out there. It's a retro style top down, like I would call it like a shmup, a shoot 'em up, but it's not really, because you have a character that you move around and they're walking technically, but it plays like a shoot 'em up in the end. Okay, we're gonna I could keep going for hours, so we're not gonna do that tonight. I do want to sleep a bit because the more I sleep, the more I have a chance with you got Demon Throttle with Gato Roboto and Gunbrella Physical. Those are awesome pickups. Those are 3 amazing games. And I actually do not have Gunbrella Physical or Gato Roboto Physical. So I'm slightly jealous, Frenchy Mom. Those are some great pickups. Okay. Is there anything else anyone wanted to talk about, check out, whatnot before we go? Because if not, I'm going to be winding it down and we are going to most likely... like I said, try to sleep well. How much is Path of the Teal Lotus? Ooh, it's only $22.99. Sexy baby. Come to Papa. Do I have it physical? I might have it physical. Hold on. Hold up. No, I do not. This is my spreadsheet, by the way. All my Switch games enumerated. These are all the physical Switch games I have enumerated. I'm missing maybe 3 or 4 here at the end. I thought I had 400. I'm near 350. I made a mistake. I'm nearing 350, not 400. But these are all, and I need to do this because, like I said, sometimes I don't remember if I bought a game or not. And it was harder to look through my collection than to just have a spreadsheet. The online community died down with the new Armored Core game. Yeah, but that was to be expected, champ. I don't think they did a lot of consistent patching to the games, and like that's the kind of game that if you're not continuously adding new content to, people are gonna get out of it eventually. Okay, guys, I think we're gonna call it though. Yeah, Jose, I think you're right. I think we're gonna call it because that way tomorrow I can work on an eShop deals video so we can get the other 12 deals out that I have ready to go. And actually, the one thing I wanted to check maybe before we go, let me just check something quick. Yeah, that's it. I want to get working on another eShop deals video because yeah, it's starting to flood in, and we already have Black Friday deals, by the way. Like we already have games on sale till December 2nd and November 26th. So like Black Friday season on the eShop is actually starting. Okay. For example, River City Girls 2 just hit a brand new low of 50% off, $19.99, and it's running till November 26th, which means we're not getting a Black Friday sale on that game. This is the Black Friday sale on that game, and we might get a post-Christmas sale, though, okay, on it. But I'm just saying for Black Friday, that's it. It's going to start this week. Gunvolt series seems to be on sale till November 25th, so that's going to be the Black Friday sale for that stuff. And most likely, if Gunvolt's on sale, Inti Creates is most likely, yeah. Inti Creates have had their Black Friday sale has started. So if you've been looking for Inti Create games, everything's at a brand new low almost. Everything's at the lowest it's ever been, or brand new low. Gal Guardians Demon Purge is 50% off, $12.49. It's not going to get better than that for this year. So if you've been waiting for Gal Guardians, going to be the time, boys. Ladies, boys and ladies, like my wife would say, you have to be inclusive. And I'm like, no. People know that when I say guys, I mean everybody. You all my bros. So, yeah, I just wanted to say, like, eShop already this week. Like, the next video, I will not title it that. But after the next video, I'm going to be starting to title the videos Early Black Friday Sales. because we are already in Black Friday season on the eShop. Like, I know some people have been saying they've been waiting for it. It is already early Black Friday. Because as soon as the deals go up to November 25th, 26th, they're not going to do another sale even lower the week after. Like, you know, and Black Friday is like the 26th this year, or the 29th, right? Black Friday. November 29th, yeah, 29th. So, like, if the sale ends on the 26th or the 25th, that is the Black Friday sale. Okay, guys. So, thank you so much for showing up as usual. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. We actually had quite a few more people than usual here today in the stream, so I'm very, very happy. We're growing slowly but steadily. Like, we were hitting around 25 and 30 for a long point on the stream, which I'm really, really happy about. You know, I hope we always keep growing the stream, but thank you for everyone who added themselves, anyone who's new here. Don't forget to hit the like button on the stream to, you know, help support it and the VOD. And as usual, I hope I'll see all of you in my next video. Have a great one, guys. Have a good night.